Every year I go with my sister and her family to the beach. And as I was packing for our beach trip this year, I was thinking about my must-have items for the beach. So in today's video, I want to share with you some of the items that I find somewhat necessary for traveling to the beach. Now, the first item is an obvious one, and that is swimsuits. Now, you only really need one swimsuit, but if I'm packing for a beach trip, I like to pack at least 2 to 3 swimsuits for a handful of reasons. I like to have a couple of different types of swimsuits for the different activities. So one swimsuit can be perfect for laying on the beach or poolside. Another one can be perfect for physical activities that involve water, such as boating or jet skiing or snorkeling. If I'm really going to be physical and it needs some support in my swimsuit, having one that's designated for that can be helpful. Or if I want one swimsuit for the beach and ocean that is going to get lots of sand mixed with it, and then one that's specifically for the pool where I don't want to carry sand from the beach into the pool, I can have 2 separate swimsuits for those different situations. But the ultimate reason that I like bringing at least 2 swimming suits is that there is nothing worse. Well, there's a lot of things worse, but it is very unpleasant putting on a wet, cool, cold swimsuit first thing in the morning as you were preparing to get ready for the day, because that swimming suit did not completely dry from the night before. So having at least 2 swimsuits that you can alternate every other day will guarantee that you have at least one swimsuit that's dry in case your first activity of the day is not getting wet. You won't be wildly uncomfortable throughout the day until you get into the water. Now, as I'm packing and thinking about wet swimsuits and dry clothes, I like to pack with packing cubes for my beach trip. This will allow me to stay organized with my different clothing items, but like I said, it also allows me to keep my clothing items separate throughout my trip. If I'm staying in one location or if I'm moving to different cities, I can keep my dry clothes separate from my wet, or I can keep my clean clothes separated from my dirty clothes, or if I have clothes that are in between, they're not 100% clean, but they're could be rewearable, not 100% dirty, I can keep those separate as well. Now, I do use the Away Bigger carry-on suitcase, which does come with a laundry bag. This is water resistant, so I can use this for my dirty clothes, or I could also use it for my wet swimsuits to keep them separate from my other clothes. Speaking of bags, I do pack a couple of different bag options in my suitcase. So one is a drawstring bag, and this is easily foldable and can be easily packed away. But this provides me another option to keep my wet clothes separate, but also gives me a backpack-like bag that I can carry around on my trip. The other bag option that I like to pack is a tote bag. It's a little bit thicker, has some pockets on the outside. Got this at Walmart 15 years ago, still going strong, but it's a great little beach bag. Can also serve as my personal item, or if I'm bringing my backpack as my personal item, I can just fold this up and pack that away in my carry-on suitcase. Another item that I like to pack when I'm traveling for a beach trip is a beach towel. Now, this one is thin, so it's not going to take up a whole lot of space, but what I really like to pack for a beach towel is a packable microfiber towel. And I packed this one on my Mediterranean trip last year, my Rome to Barcelona trip, and I had a lot of people in the comments of that packing video ask me why I was packing my own towel when hotels provide you a towel. And I pack one for a couple of reasons. One, most of the time they're only providing you one towel per person, and I want to use that towel for my daily showers and other hygienic purposes and not taking it to the beach with me. Some accommodations only give you one towel per person, and they don't have an option for more towels, such as Airbnbs or hostels. You have to pay for additional towels. So having my own towel comes in handy. Plus it's microfiber, so it's quick drying. I feel like hotels are notorious for being humid places that have little to no exhaust system. So if any clothing item is wet, it just takes ages for it to air dry. So having a quick drying towel can be super beneficial, especially if you are going to multiple cities. If you're going to the beach one day and then the next day you're packing up and traveling to another location, your towel may not have dried in between those times. So having a quick drying towel almost guarantees that it'll be dry by the morning when you are packing up. And this will help prevent mold and mildew from growing in your suitcase when you're in transit to your new location. Because this is a beach trip, I do want to protect my skin. So depending if I'm flying or driving to the beach, if I'm flying, am I going to be carrying my suitcase on or checking it? I will consider my sunscreen options. So if I'm checking my suitcase or driving to the beach, then I will bring my own full-size bottle of sunscreen. And I do make sure that it is reef friendly so that anything washing off my skin in the ocean can be as safe as it can be for the creatures in the water. So I do like to purchase my own sunscreen before I get to the beach, because oftentimes beachside cities will raise the prices of their sunscreen so that it is way more expensive than what you can get at your local store, especially if the cost of living where your home is significantly less than that beachside town. It can make more sense financially to purchase your sunscreen where you are and bring it with you. Now, if I am carrying on my suitcase and not checking a bag, then I will at least get some travel size sunscreen to bring with me so that I have some to hold me over until I can locate a store and get more quantities of sunscreen at that point. And then speaking of protecting my skin, so a couple of years ago when we went to the beach, it had rained one evening and I had gone to the beach the next day. And if you know anything about what happens when there are cool, damp conditions in the sand, is a breeding ground for sand fleas, no-see-ums, all the bugs and creatures that will bite you. Love cool, damp places. So I laid down on the beach, had a towel in between me and the sand, but when I got up, I had all of these bug bites and welts. Luckily, my sister had packed some Benadryl cream so I could help alleviate some of my itching and redness. But this is multi-purpose and it's great for not only bug bites, but poison oak, poison ivy, sunburns, minor cuts and scrapes. So having a multi-purpose gel can come in handy for a beach trip, especially if you get sunburned. You can use this as well instead of packing in another bottle of aloe vera gel. If you want to kind of keep your liquids to a minimum, this is something that I find very helpful. If you're not worried about your liquid quantity, then you could also look at bug repellents, whether it has DEET or if you want to go DEET free for a natural bug spray. But that's something to consider if you're going to be outdoors, especially at your beach trip, is you will get bug bites. So having some sort of treatment there, and you can buy things such as this when you get to your destination, but depending on where you're going and what brand or different ingredients you need based on your skin allergies or anything, bringing that with you can be beneficial. If you're not only going to be going to the beach, but doing some sightseeing in the hot sun and doing a lot of walking as well, then I like bringing some anti-chafe balm. This comes in so handy if you're doing a lot of walking and your shoe is rubbing against your ankle, or your arm is rubbing against your torso, or if your thighs rub against each other as you're doing all that walking. That can cause a lot of blisters. So having some preventative measures such as an anti-chafing balm can help. Along with the anti-chafing balm, I do like to pack some Band-Aids, but specifically waterproof Band-Aids. These come in handy if it's really hot and you're sweating. Band-Aids typically will fly off if they get a little bit damp. So having waterproof Band-Aids can make sure that they are sticking to your skin for longer periods of time. As the trip goes on, I tend to get more exhausted, but it's hot and I don't necessarily want to have hot coffee for the caffeine to keep me awake. So I will bring some Crystal Light packets with caffeine, and these help keep me caffeinated, put them in my water bottle to keep me going through the duration of my trip. And then lastly, I get motion sickness on planes, cars, and boats. So I do like to pack some motion sickness pills, but also some ginger chews, since ginger is supposed to help with nausea. I like to pack both because I'm not always wanting to take a full-on pill. Sometimes it's just I'm just a little bit nauseous, so just chewing on some ginger chews can help with that. So those are some of my must-have items when packing for a beach trip. Let me know in the comments down below what your must-have items are when packing, so I can see if there's something that I left off my list, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now.